for now. Alright. Hey everybody. I have a couple of announcements and things I wanted to run by everybody. So if you're watching this YouTube video and it's not pretty far away from the time that this is recorded, feel free to drop your comment down below if you would like to see any of these three things come to fruition. So I'm going to start right off talking about what I would want to do for what's I have as the first one, the Wave Race 64 player profile series, which would be me collaborating with other people within the Wave Race community, people who know a lot more about this than I do, helping me put together a player spotlight profile for individual runners within the Wave Race community. And I would love to have people from the community get on board and kind of help me with this idea, help me get this off the ground, so that way, we can make videos with for the history of Wave Race, for the history of this amazing speed game and the speedrunning community behind it. Do a profile on Shibby, do a profile on Ilu, Hayate, Lockwood, Metalhead, Pancakes, myself, Asmoney, Game, Modal, Mo, Gilly, stuff like that, and kind of introduce various people from the community. And maybe the more newer players won't get one right away, because me, Pancakes, Metalhead have been in it less than 2 years. But for somebody like Shibby, who's been champion for almost 5 years now, it'd be pretty sick for Shibby for someone to put together kind of a profile on Shibby and be able to just do him and these other legendary players justice. We could even go back and talk about what we know about Marla and Walls and guys like that. So that's kind of my idea. I don't know if people would be interested in actually seeing that. So again, please feel free to leave feedback, whether it's in our Discord, whether it's in the Wave Race Discord, whether it is on YouTube in the comments section, or whether it's through messaging. You can just DM me on Discord or whatever. Just if you do, please make sure to reference the fact that you're talking about this video. So that would be pretty cool. I'd like to start with maybe perhaps some more storied players, so like Hayate, Ilu, Shibby. So yeah, I think Gilly would really be able to help me, and he's given me a lot of information on people already, like past timesheets and stuff like that for me to look at for when I was going to do my series on the individual courses. And that could still happen. I could still do these things, but I'm not very good at writing narratives. I'm just more good at saying this happened and this happened. And I don't know if people want more of the story behind stuff. Like, I don't know the story. So, like, if we want to talk about Drake Lake, I know from Shibby's video. Shibby did a video talking about the history of Drake Lake already, pretty much up until Mo beat the record last year. Once Mo beat then we got to that day, and that was it. But it doesn't cover Ilu coming back and Ilu beating that time, lowering it literally frame by frame to get the 110. So that'd be something almost neat to do. Yeah. So that's kind of point number one. Point number two would be Shibbypod did his interview series. He hasn't really done it, and not many people have shown much interest in doing it, in like going on with him and doing an interview. I thought maybe I or somebody else, whoever would want to do it, I personally wouldn't mind doing it, because I think it'd be neat to see. It'd be neat to interview Shibby himself, and go through Shibby's history, just like he went through my history, Pancake's history, and Metalhead's history. We could go through his, and we could talk to him about it, and talk to him and learn, and that way the community has an interview does an interview that's, a Shibbypod interview, like, and it could still be in the continuation of Shibbypod's Wavery 64 interview series, but it would just be me interviewing. It could be me or somebody else interviewing Shibbypod, and I think that would be awesome. I think that would be great. Again, same thing. Feedback. I'd like to know if people would want to do that. If who they would want to interview Shibby, myself, Ghillie, somebody who would be willing to do that with Shibby. And also we have to talk to the man himself and see if Shibby would want to do that. I know I don't know if he'd be interested in doing an interview. Same thing with the last one I'm going to talk about. If Shibby, actually, the last one's more down to if the community wants to see that and how they want to see that thing go down. Because I think it should go down, and I think it should happen. It should happen next month, or it should happen in the beginning of 2020. But anyways, interview Shibbypod just like he interviewed us, the other three of us in the community, and he also interviewed Illu a long time ago. So we'll see how that goes. I'll talk to Shibby, see if he'd like to set that up. I'm sure that he could give me. I'm pretty sure we could pretty much just use a similar layout that we did last time. How I did it with him, or he did it with me rather. It would be pretty cool, honestly, in my opinion. So that's cool. That's a cool thing. And next would be, and it's something that's kind of weighed on my mind since we have Illu and Hayate both now as legends. I think that the next proper Legends induction should be Shibby. I think Shibbypod deserves to go to the Legends. And I think that I would want to leave this completely up to the community, including Shibby himself. Because I don't know if Shibby would feel comfortable being put in the Legends at this point. Honestly, I think that he might want to save that for another time. He might want to wait until he's actually done playing. But I think since with Illu and Hayate both being put into the Legends while they were still active players, I believe it would be wrong for Shibbypod to not get inducted, obviously. But again, like I said, it could be this next rankings, it could be next rankings, but I think a cool way to do it would be to have someone in the community. I would love to see someone in the community make an induction video for Shibbypod. And it doesn't have to be long. It could just be on behalf of the Wavery 64 community. We would like to induct Shibbypod into the Legends section into the Legends category for his outstanding achievements and his contributions to the community, his high level of play, the amount of untied world records he has set and still has set, like, if it's 2019 this year, if it's 2020 last year, obviously and everything like that, like, a proper way for the community to want to put Shibbypod in the Legends. And I agree with you as Money. I don't think Shibby's ever gonna induct himself. I think that the community should induct him, and I think that'd be really cool to happen sooner rather than later. So we'll see how things go, and I might just be talking to win, and this will never get put into fruition, and this video is useless. However, I do think that there is something to be said for that. So I do really appreciate this community so much. I appreciate the Wavery's community, and I love everybody in it. So those are kind of just some ideas I had. Would be to interview Shibbypod, to induct him into the Legends section of rankings, thus making him just a Wavery 64 legend like he is, and then doing the profile series, doing a player series where you go through can go through and talk about these the players and talk about their times and just and kind of give history of Wave Race through the individual players and of course one person's story does not just include themselves, so we're giving exposure to everybody in the community doing this. So that'd be very exciting. I think that's it. So thanks for listening to the announcements, ideas, throwing stuff, ideas for me to talk about, comments, whatever. So yeah, thanks.